Okay, beloveds, our another is a melting pot of emotions today. It is the energies as you're moving from Mercury retrograde back to non-Mercury retrograde. Just think of it as putting your car in reverse versus putting it forwards, or playing the record backwards versus forwards. There's no good nor bad. It is just merely an expression of energy. So in the Mercury retrograde as a whole, it just merely exposes those things that are not working well, that need to be cleared up or healed. And it will express itself in so many different ways that we can't even give you examples. But just think of wherever your life does not move forward smoothly, succinctly, in accordance with your desires and wishes of how you wish to plan and move forward. Those are the Mercury retrograde experiences for you to explore. And again, no good or no bad. It is merely an expression of that which wishes to be seen. If, for example, your toilet overflows, right? Your shit is not leaving your home. It is bubbling back up into your space. So what is it that's blocking you or stuffing your pipes? So now it can be a literal expression, meaning you need a snake to clear out the obstruction. But it can also be an energetic explanation of you are not releasing that which needs to go. Similar to constipation, right? The constipation will not allow the poo to leave your body and instead sits there and continues to create toxins that are absorbed into your body's energetic mass. So your Mercury retrograde shows you where your life needs tweaking. And when you go back into forward alignment, it just merely means that those things that you have learned, that you now get to practice it. So you will have more opportunities where experiences will arise to show you whether or not you have mastered that skill. And if you continue to have constipation or a backed up toilet, flowing from our prior example, it just means that it's not integrated yet. And again, there's no judgment. It just means you've got some more work to do. A more realistic example is if you were having conflict with somebody and it was to teach you to respond in a particular way, which either is more loving or more firmly with boundaries. As you move back into the forward motion, you will have an opportunity to show that you really do know how to move forward in a forward motion through having integrated those lessons, which again means to be more loving and forgiving with others. So if somebody pulls in front of you while you're driving, you just realize that for whatever reason they're in a hurry or whatever it is, that they just are not paying attention in that moment, and to let it go instead of getting angry. Because again, it is a way for you to be in flow with the universe's energies. Or if somebody continues to put you down, you finally stand up for yourself and say, this is no longer acceptable. I don't wish to be treated this way. I will no longer accept this treatment. And you just literally turn around on your heels and walk away. And your message is delivered. You don't have to be mean and nasty. You don't have to call names. You don't have to lower yourself to their level of expression. But nonetheless, you say, I don't think so, and you walk away. So now this person can either badmouth you, saying X, Y, and Z about you, or they can say, I desire this person, or I need this person to work through this issue with me, and they will come back and find a harmonious or more harmonious way to move through whatever the conflict was. So most people will just badmouth you and move on, but it doesn't really matter, because Their lesson is their lesson. Yours is yours, and yours is either to be more love or to create healthier boundaries and to enforce them. So as we have expressed, those are the two energies that most of you are going through. There's always going to be exceptions. So, use your intuition. If it doesn't feel right, don't believe anybody else's explanation, interpretation, justification, whatever it is. You are unique snowflakes and unicorns, and you intuitively know what is right for you in any given moment. So honor that sensation. Sometimes it really is to just take out a baseball bat energetically, not literally, and smash the other person over the head with it. Now, is this in the long run, a desirable response? No. But the fact is, if you have been repressed for 20 years and you have never stood up for yourself, and this is the first stepping point for you to say, I'm done with this, while it's not the ideal solution, it is better than being abused. And then the next time, you may not need a baseball bat, you may use a golf club. And the next time you may use a little hand gardening shovel. And the next time you may take a fly swatter. And the next time a chopstick. And then the next time a feather duster. You get what we're getting at. Find that transition. We do not expect you to go from off to on or on to off overnight. You need to realize, just like emotions, look at the emotions that range from depression, which is at the very, very bottom, to absolute joy up at the top, joy and bliss. Find the different emotions that reside between those two opposite ends of the spectrum. That is what healing looks like. So for many of you, you have been repressed. So as you learn to find your voice, right, you're going to start using the club all the way down to the feather duster. And for those of you who have abused others, and we ask you to be more love, it will be also a slow transition. And to be honest, for you all, it's a little bit harder because you have such fears that it's very difficult for you to trust others and to offer loving expressions. But if you really each time say, I'm going to set aside my own trigger here of this person wounding me, and how can I just offer this person a loving response that is helpful for them at this moment, and I will address my own, fears, wounds, triggers later. It's a much better way to do that. If you just be love, meet the other person in the space of vulnerability where they reside right now. And because by doing that, you will actually learn to love yourself as well, because you will feel what it feels like. So picture that you are tending to a young child, whether it is yours or somebody else's, because depending upon who you are, you can oftentimes give more love to your own child and sometimes to a stranger, believe it or not, because of your own family construct. But, crawl down at the eye level of that child and meet them where they're at, instead of this towering, huge person. Invite them into your arms, nestle them, in an embrace and a hug. Tell them that you love them, that it'll be okay. Do something to soothe them so that they will feel that the universe is there protecting them. And in doing that, believe it or not, you will offer yourself that same vibration. And this is a perfect example of fake it until you make it. If you offer somebody else what you really don't have, but you've seen on movies or, in media somewhere, or maybe you've seen somebody else express, as you try to tune and tap into that vibration, it literally will come into your body and reside there for a bit and entrain you. And with time, you will also be able to be more love. But again, as we said, when you come from a fearful vibration, this is the more difficult thing to do because you have learned that the world is not trustworthy, and therefore you have to have these incredible defense mechanisms up to make you feel safe. So this is where our another is today, and it is very difficult as she gets challenged and has to create healthy boundaries. But how does she do that with an energy that is loving from John Lennon, meaning that I'm no longer going to engage in this tit-for-tat communication style, but instead I'm going to respond, but do it with a loving vibration in order to either bring about resolution or just to move out of this altogether, because what benefit is there in going back and forth and playing what she calls fuck you volleyball? It serves nothing, frustrates her, the other person as well, and doesn't add to the energetic imprint of healing and moving towards something better that we are trying to teach her to move into. So, but she cannot learn it unless she learns it. And she's finally learning to speak up. And when she does, it's painful to have to express that side of yourself that you really don't enjoy. But, if the mama bear energy is needed in order to protect you and your offspring, then you do it without any judgment. But how do you do it so that you don't feel bad about yourself after the fact and don't have the karmic residue of having created a karmic backlash through your own energetic words? It is very difficult to manage, and we are doing our best to teach her to find that sweet spot on the balancing beam or the tightrope. The tightrope obviously requires much more balance and skill, because you literally grasp the rope between your toes and your foot and use your body to balance, whereas the balancing beam has a surface that is around, give or take 3 inches across, wherein it's much easier to find your balance point. So start small, or in this case, start big, which is on the balance beam, and move towards the tightrope to perfect your skill. It is a lesson for humanity to integrate its new way of being, which is love, and love is the lion and the lamb. It is not only the lamb any longer from many of your perspectives. The lion is important too, to stand up for what you believe in, for what is right, for what you now expect out of others around you, but still with that loving expression of self. And it is not an easy dance to learn, especially after leaving the patriarchy into this divine feminine energy, where the patriarchy still is all around you in the people form, but less in the energetic form of the earth. And right now the duality, the contrast between the patriarchy and the divine feminine is really expressing itself. And many of you are struggling because of this. So just play your part, knowing that whatever happens is serving a purpose somehow, even if you behave lesser than, so long as you go in and explore the why of it and do your own integral work on healing yourself. If you do that, then no energy is wasted, right? Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. And just know whatever you put out there will come back in some form. So at some point, we hope that more and more of you will put out loving energy that is in perfect balance and harmony with the universe, instead of being victim consciousness or victimizer or perpetrator. We really would like that center point in the infinity symbol, where the energy just moves around you and through you, but doesn't pull you along on that, so that you're in a continual space of observation, where you are detached from the outcome, and even detached from the energy of the exercise, but simply an observer of, this is interesting. Let me see what I can learn without attaching to the outcome, which is the most difficult piece, because let's be honest, you all are very outcome oriented, and therefore pretty much everything that you say, do, believe, put your effort into and invest in is because you are looking for a particular outcome. How many of you would invest in a security where you're guaranteed to lose 100 cents on the dollar? None of you, unless you had some kind of a weird, sadistic bent to torment yourself. So recognize that you are outcome oriented. You want to keep at least as much money as you put in, if not a home run, so that you can retire and never have to work again, because you realize that this work construct that you're all stuck in, the patriarchy, is just not serving you, because you were not doing what made your heart sing. But if you did win the lottery, how many of you would just sit and play golf all day, or, if you will, explore your navel, or go gambling? You know what we're getting at. And how many of you would take that money and say, okay, I'm going to pay off my debt, and what is my soul's purpose now? What can I do to make this place a better place to live? How can I perfect myself, experience and grow into the best version of who I can be, and share this experience with the world, whether it be hydroponics, right? Finding the perfect cannabis strain that cures cancer, doing what our Mother is doing, and that is to become the best medium that she possibly can to pull these energies through her to help others. Maybe it is to become the best teacher, where you work with young people to really inspire them to connect to their inner being and to be the best version of themselves. Maybe it is to start a bio company where you're going to find some kind of a new drug, whether it is nature-based or lab-based, to cure a disease or solve a medical problem. What we're getting at is, if you had enough money or resources at your disposal, who would you desire to be? How would you desire to spend your day? How would you become the best version of yourself if you no longer had to worry about money, healthcare, housing, any of that stuff? If all of your needs were met, what would you desire to do, to be, and to express to the world? Find that. And we ask you not to just sit and barbecue all day and do nothing. You can, that's fine, but we can tell you with great assurance that is not what your soul came here to do. Maybe for a while to rest, relax, but to find something where you can leave an imprint, a stamp, a mark, right? So in the olden days, they would take a candle and melt it on the back of an envelope, and then there was a metallic imprint. If you could do that on this planetary energy, what would that imprint be? How would you want to be remembered 100 or 1,000 years from now by those who come after you? You know, that you had big fake boobs and can sell yourself on Facebook by getting people to send you money. Is that how you want to express yourself? And yes, David Cadmus, this is for you, because you get lots and lots of these, and you were learning so much from those experiences. Or would you want to be the next Tesla? You know, there is no right or wrong, but when you do transition and you see your life review behind you, and you see how you impacted others negatively or positively, the ripple effect. If you know that now, if you know now that at your point of death you're going to see that, how would you want that to play out? What would you want the story of your life to look like? And maybe you don't care, and that's fine too, but there are many of you that actually do care. So start to allow that to inspire you, not because of how other people see you, for goodness sake, no, because of how you see you. When you, the individual you, goes through your life review, you and only you will judge you, if that makes sense. So if you know that today, that you will be God in that sense, judging you, determining whether or not you get in through, the heaven's gates, which don't exist. If you were judging you, by what standard would you like to judge you? And then slowly become that version of you, recognizing it is the journey itself that is the most miraculous. So again, go back to The Wizard of Oz, the whole movie. If we started it and took you right to the curtain and didn't have all of the stories in between, the lessons that all of the characters learned, and just went straight to the curtain, then she went back to Kansas, be number one, quite boring, to be honest. And it would miss the whole purpose of it, which is the journey of self-exploration and self-discovery. So we once again inspire you to just kind of step outside of yourself. Many of you have already done this, and obviously these messages are not for you other than to reinforce what you already know. But, each time we channel, we hope to get 1 or 2 new people to come on board. And if we can do that, at the end of the year, it may only be roughly 700 new people. But you know what? It'll be 700 new people whose lives were miraculously changed by these simplistic messages. And if even only one person is changed through the life of another, from her perspective, that makes her life and the pain and the suffering that she has gone through worthy of it for her, because she's at least made an impact on one other human being's life. And she knows that she has touched way more than that. And that is why she continues to be willing to go through her unique journey, because she knows that the incredible lessons that she has learned, as well as her ability to channel us now with, really for the most part, utter and complete detachment, because she just doesn't even really care anymore whether any of this bears out to be truthful or not. She has just simply said, I will be a channel regardless of how this works out, because I trust what you guys give me to somehow be for the highest good of the collective. And beyond that, I detach from what these messages are. She doesn't keep notes on them. If you were to ask her about them, she would say, I don't even remember, because it doesn't matter to her. She merely channels this for you all who are listening in hopes that somehow one of you on any given day will be inspired to just go within, and that's it, and to find yourself. So here we go. It is another day. It is another dollar lost because COVID-19 continues to reside here. May you all choose the lesson to go within and to become love yourself and to love your neighbor as much as you love yourself. And that is all that is needed in order for COVID-19 to recede into the background and to become a footnote in the story called Your Lives instead of the headline on any given day. And so it is. Namaste.